relationships are transactional. All of them. Every single relationship is transactional. If we're defining transactional as someone gets and someone gives something, there is an exchange. If we're not defining that solely as money, because we agree that people can give or receive other things. You can give or receive favors. You can give or receive, like, there's a whole entire thing called a barter system. We don't use it primarily anymore, but that exists, right? We can acknowledge that it exists. And today, I want to talk about that phrase, when relationships are transactional. If you haven't ever been here before, hi, my name's Keeley. I'm a cuddle therapist, and I exist in online spaces doing advocacy for somatic work, for touch work, for the kind of work that I do. And in comment sections, I know, I'm not supposed to read the comment section. I get it, I know, but I'm weak. I still read it. And when I read the comment section and I see people giving the feedback, we're gonna be really, really kind and call it feedback. It's feedback. That cuddle therapy, they wouldn't be able to do it, or they wouldn't want to do it because it would feel too transactional. I want to have a conversation about that. And when I say conversation, I really do want a back and forth. I know you're watching a video, so you can't really respond in real time right now, but there's a comment section. I know I'm not supposed to read it, but I want to know. I want to know what you think about this thing that I'm going to say. I'm front loading it, but I'm going to say how I experience that. So, transactional relationships depends on what you define as a transaction. If you just talk about money, if that is the only thing for you or in your definition that constitute a transaction, cool, okay, yes, accurate. But I don't think we use it that way. And I don't think that's actually a useful definition, because what I hear people saying when they say they don't want the relationship to feel transactional, I think most of the time what they're saying is they don't want it to feel fake. That's what the like words that aren't the quiet part out loud, for most of the time, if I'm reading in between the lines and interpreting what they're saying, is that they don't want it to feel fake. And if that is truly the underlying message, then I have really good news. It never is. Technically, I can only speak for myself. I can also extend some of this to Cuddlist, because Cuddlist has a training. Everyone who goes through Cuddlist's training and then joins membership, so if you find someone, they are beholden to the Cuddlist Code of Conduct, the Code of Ethics, and the Integrity Policy, all of which have stipulations about it being a genuine connection, about people not being artificial or lying, but bringing their whole genuine self. Like, that is part of the ethos of that company and that certification, that training program, platform, whatever. So here's why I want to look at the word transaction differently. If transaction means exchange and not just money, currency, then I would argue every single relationship is in some way transactional. A baby being born, there is transaction there. The baby is looking for security and safety, and so it behaves in an evolutionarily conditioned way to get hence attachment trauma. Like, there's a whole psychotherapy study of attachment trauma, and it's how babies learn how to get care from caregivers of different styles. That's what we talk about when we talk about attachment. So there is an exchange, there's care, and then from the parent's perspective, there's all kinds of things that they get out of it. They get, the part of it is hormonal. Let's do a different example too. Friendships. Every adult friendship or adult romantic relationship, let's look at both of them. The hope is that you show up for your friends, you listen to your friends, you enjoy your friends' company, and they will also do the same. In fact, when both people aren't showing up for the other person, that's where the majority of conflict come from, because are you a people pleaser, or is someone taking too much from you? We get people being called narcissists. It's because there needs to be an even exchange. Sometimes that exchange is simply respect. Sometimes that exchange is participation in the other person's life. Sometimes that exchange is clear signs of affection. In romantic relationships, both people are continuing their affection, their bids for affection, in an understood context that the other person will reciprocate. And again, the biggest conflicts arise when it isn't reciprocated in a caring, equal, fulfilling, enter your word way. Right? So if good relationships, that word is nebulous, good is nebulous. So in fulfilling relationships, relationships that feel equitable, relationships that feel satisfying, relationships that feel connected, both people are being contributed to. Both people are contributing. They feel valued for what they bring. Both people feel respected and valued. That's the even exchange. And here's the really special thing about a service like Cuddle Therapy, or many services in mental health care or in support and care services. When the provider, the person offering support, whatever the professional is, the payment you give to them, if you're looking at it beyond just currency, it is you contributing to the other person's life. That money means the other person has fulfilling positive experiences. They can put a roof over their head. They can go maybe on a vacation. They can do the things that make their life happy. You contributed to their life. You also are saying you value them by choosing that person instead of another to provide this particular service. You are valuing them. And you're doing it all up front. There is nothing else you need to do. Because in the session, it is their turn to give back to you. Right? That's the even exchange. It's their turn to contribute to you, and it's their turn to value you. So in a context where both people agree that they're going to be honest, both people agree that they're not going to do anything that's beyond their comfort, they're really only going to stick to the things that they can genuinely do, that means that during a session, I'll just speak for Cuddle Therapy here, during a session, there is nothing else you have to do. It's maybe one of the only places in the world, in your life, where you don't have to worry about taking care of the other person. That entire time, from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave, is for you. And it's not being selfish. It's not taking up too much space. You're not taking more than you're giving because you just already completed giving. In other relationships, the thing is happening kind of simultaneously, right? And there's not really a tally. And so if one person helps you move, but you don't move, but they aren't in the process of moving, you might go and do some yard work for them. But it's happening simultaneously, and you don't necessarily always know, well, what equals another thing, but you want it to feel like both are contributing in a way that feels equal. But that can be a little bit hard, especially with people who are still working on deeper communication skills, because what does that look like? What does that mean? What tasks of friendship equal other tasks of friendship? How many hours do you need to put in listening to someone complain about their job for you to get that other person to help you figure out your organization in your living room? I don't know, something, right? Like, where is the even exchange? In cuddle therapy, it is clearly defined, and there's no guesswork. You gave, you contributed, you valued, and now it's your turn in the session. And this, again, is all within the context of mutual respect. That's still a given that happens all the time. And only with people genuinely engaging authentically, being honest about it. That's kind of the beauty of that transactional relationship. I'm curious what your thoughts are about this. Does that change how it feels when you think about this work? For some people, it's challenging. For some people, it pushes up against a discomfort in receiving. For many caregivers, or people who are chronic people pleasers, or just the folks who tend to take care of everyone else in their life, actually setting aside an entire hour, 2 hours, however long a session is, just to receive, well, that's a lot of attention on you. And that could push up against a little discomfort if you're not practiced at receiving. For still other people, the clarity of communication is so new that it feels a little uncomfortable. Can you actually trust it? Can you actually trust that the clear communication, there isn't something hiding under there? Does that sound familiar to anyone? I know there are different times in my life where that would have sounded familiar to me. So does knowing that it's an authentic connection and that the structure of it, meaning the payment, actually helps in some ways make it really clear? I'll end with this example. I have a very dear friend, and this very dear friend also happens to be in the mental health therapy world. And I was going through a really tough time, and they were offering me a lot of support as a friend. Phone calls, activities that were supporting me. And I got to be really self-conscious about how much I was taking. I also know that this particular person has a specialized skill set. They have a certification in a kind of healing work that I really wanted to receive. So I had a conversation with this person, and I said, "You've been offering me a lot of support lately, and it's really important to me. If you'd be willing, can I pay you for this service?" And they were like, "Oh my gosh, stop it. No, of course I'm going to do that for you. Just take a time. You don't need to pay me." And I paused them, and I said, "No, I actually really want to pay you. I kind of need to, because I don't think I can step into that room for that particular thing and actually receive it, because I will be in my head worrying the entire time that I am taking too much, that I'm being selfish, that I'm draining you, that I'm just a burden. I will have all of that running in my head. But if I pay you, then I have something concrete to hold on to, that I know, no, I've contributed to this person. I've contributed in a way that they've already established feels good to them. Their rate. They set their rate, and it's publicly available. So I know that that feels like a fulfilling exchange for them. And all those voices in the back of my head that say I'm being selfish, or I'm taking too much, or I'm a burden, all those voices quiet. And I can actually get the support that I need in that particular instance. It was me being allowed to pay for that thing that made it even helpful. Is that everyone's experience in all things? No. And we can accept help from our friends. And sometimes that clarity is really soothing and reassuring, and is what you need. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining me today.